Dengar, Miss.
Oke, yang di situ ada siapa aja ini?
Ini Taskia ada di studio, Zahra sama Sultan di rumah, Miss.
Oke. Sebentar ya.
welcome ladies and gentlemen who have joined it. The event will start at 3 p.m. and please wait while other participants join. Thank you.
Kenalin, aku Oka. Belajar tentang perbankan adalah passionku. Prodi baru yang up to date dengan kebutuhan masa kini. Khas sekolah vokasi UGM banget. Sekarang aku lagi di N21. Pakai sesuai kebutuhan. Fasilitas? Jangan ditanya. Jalanan sekitar SP UGM emang adem banget. Gak jarang aku pinjam sepeda kampus. Karena di lingkungan UGM memprioritaskan pejalan kaki dan pesepeda. Stasiun sepedanya banyak. Bisa keliling fakultas di UGM. Cara minjemnya pun gampang. Tinggal nunjukin KTM, beres. Hidup sehat bisa dimulai dengan cara yang simple. Kayak aku ini nih, naik sepeda ke kampus. Kuliah di sini emang seru banget karena berbasis vokasional. 60% perkuliahan didominasi praktik sesuai bidang yang dipelajari. Laboratorium dan alatnya sesuai kebutuhan. Dosen-dosennya tersertifikasi. Nggak jarang dapat kuliah umum dari berbagai perusahaan. Tentunya yang sudah bermitra dengan SPUGM.
Oka tuh, Oka.
Lagi ngapain?
Ini nih lagi cek-cek beasiswa baru.
Lagi cek-cek beasiswa?
Iya, udah lihat belum di vokasi GMF?
Belum.
Belum banget.
Oh iya, bagus ya.
Iya, kalian tahu nggak? Ada berita baru loh di Instagram SPGM. Coba lihat, ada ekspor luar negeri. Ini ada Korean Food Festival, ada summer course.
Oh iya,
Banyak,
bagus ya. Sebagai mahasiswa tingkat akhir, perpustakaan jadi sahabat aku. Tempatnya adem dan tenang. Enak buat ngerjain tugas. Ada juga ruang khusus untuk diskusi. Untuk yang lagi ada proyek kelompok, namanya perpus bikin betah. Ini VDC, satu dari sedikit pusat karir di UGM. Bagi aku dan mahasiswa sekolah vokasi UGM lainnya, keberadaan VDC sangat mendukung karir kami. Berbagai pelatihan difasilitasi. Konsultasi karir dapat kita ikuti. Secara berkala, VDC menyelenggarakan job fair, khususnya bagi lulusan SPUGM. Sebagai syarat kelulusan bagi mahasiswa SPUGM, VDC sangat berjasa sebagai lembaga penyedia info magang, serta penyelenggara Testing List for Vocational Students, atau biasa disingkat TVOX. Dunia perkuliahan tak melulu soal belajar ilmu pengetahuan dan mempersiapkan karir. Di SPUGM, aku bebas mengasah bakat dan mengekspresikan diri melalui UKM pilihanku. Seperti aku ini nih, lagi ada di Gasita, unit yang memperkenalkan tentang gamelan yang sudah berprestasi di dalam maupun di luar negeri.
Universitas Gadjah Mada or UGM is a public university renowned as the People's University, which strives for and puts forward the interests of the citizens and nation of Indonesia. As a higher education institution that has long been recognized by the society, we are proud of our timeless and tireless dedication to the nation. By cultivating, implementing, and leveraging education, research, and community services, which constitute the salient objectives of Indonesian higher education, or Tridharma, we remain committed to incessantly promoting the values of Pancasila. We exert the utmost effort to protect Indonesia's sovereignty in accordance with Pancasila ideology and the 1945 Constitution. As a world-class university, UGM is devoted to the interests of the nation and humanity. We conduct research, provide education, and deliver community services by enhancing knowledge that benefits the community, the nation, and the world. We have been learning from one another and get stronger together since we believe that knowledge is not useful unless it is shared with others. The learning process will never cease developing. At UGM, we learn by continuously learning from history, observing the present, and researching for the future. We always work hard and never give up. The learning and research processes and
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The event will start at 5 minutes. Thank you.
Research in many realms. For instance, studies in the health sector to cope with COVID-19 are being encouraged and accelerated as a form of UGM's commitment to mitigating disaster using scientific methods. One of the most innovative inventions regarding to mitigating the COVID-19 is GENOS, a screening tool or early detector of patients exposed to COVID-19, which is able to identify the symptom through exhale within 80 seconds. GENOS is highly reliable. It has a number of advantages as a COVID-19 fast detection tool. Its sensor is able to detect more than thousands of patients in the long term, while providing relatively fast results, non-invasive and affordable. In addition, its usage also applies non-rebreathing mask and disposable HEPA filter. Those challenges somehow direct or even force us to innovate and modify approaches. Success is a journey which necessitates smart work through learning, studying, and sacrificing. Despite all that, most of all, we love what we do.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu. Namo Buddhaya, good luck to all of us, which we respect. Manik Kharismayekti as a Community and Communication Coordinator, Alzheimer Indonesia, Netherlands, and Sherwani Tio and Tommy Low from National University Singapore, and Anggi Mobaya, Dimas Prasetya, Jihan Fangira Songaton, and Novika Sari Gobel from Institut Agama Islam Negeri Manado. And as well as all the webinar participants, the intersection of culture, science, and society that we are proud of. Thank God Almighty, because it is for His grace and blessing that we can gather here in good health in the event on behalf of collaborative project of classes, international, cross-culture, and Indonesia cross-cultural from the students of Applied English Study Program, the Department of Foreign Language, Art and Culture Management Vocational College, Universitas Gadjah Mada 2021, organizer with the theme Intersection of Culture, Science, and Society. Introduce me to Sonia Valdehar Salenka as Master of Ceremony, who will guide the course of the event today. To start the event, let us pray first for the smooth running of today's event. Praying according to each other belief. Prayers start now. The prayer is finished. Welcome to join the webinar event talk 24. Here are our webinar rules at noon today. First, participants are expected to attend the event until completion. Participants are expected not to turn on the microphone if they are not speaking. If possible, participants are expected to turn on the camera and use the virtual background provided by the committee. And the last one, participants are expected to fill out absences on the links that committee has provided in the chat column later. And before proceeding to the next event, let us first sing the Indonesia National Anthem, Indonesia Raya. Okay, the event will be continued with a welcome of Miss Johanna Ika Harnitasari as the head of Applied English Study Program in Vocational School Universitas Gadjah Mada.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Good afternoon, dear speakers, committee, and all participants of webinar event talk number 24. Yeah. Well, the air is very cool today in Jogja because it rained heavily this noon. Yeah. What about in your city? Okay, well, yeah, we have to keep our immune, by taking vitamins and drinking a lot of water, Okay, well, friends, this webinar event talk is a collaborative project of international cross-cultural communication and also Indonesian cross-cultural communication classes from the students of Bachelor of Applied English Study Program, Department of Foreign Languages, Arts, and also Culture Management Vocational College, Universitas Gadjah Mada. And this is the 24th, which is going to discuss about the intersection of culture, science, and also society. Our guest speaker today, Miss Manik Kharismayekti from Science Team Alzheimer, Netherland-Indonesia, Holland, will share to us about dementia, and be part of dementia-friendly community, Hopefully later after we listen to Miss Manik's sharing, we are more aware of dementia that might happen to elderly in our family or in our society, and we can support or help them. And we are also going to listen to sharing from students from EIN Manado and US Singapore, and also from UGM about culture and society. And I believe that we are not only able to learn from each other later through the discussion, but we can also strengthen the relationship among the university, among our study programs. And I thank a lot to Miss Dewi for mentoring the students to manage this kind of great event. And I'm proud of the committee who managed to build and also maintain networking with our friends, especially from EIN Manado and also from NUS Singapore. So good job, friends. And for all, enjoy the webinar, everyone. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Johanna Ika Harnintasari, as our head of Applied English Study Program, Vocational School, Universitas Gadjah Mada, for the welcome speech that has been given. Next, we will enter the long-awaited series of event today. We go into the event at noon today to our moderator, Nadifa Rizkita Agustina, will take over. For that, we welcome Nadifa.
All right, thank you so much, Sonia. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, everyone. Welcome our speakers and attendees. This is Webinar Events Talk 24 under the theme The Intersection of Culture, Science, and Society. My name is Nadifa, and I will be your moderator in this. Before we get started, I would like to read the house rule or etiquette in this presentation session, everyone. First, please turn off your microphone when you are not talking. Second, participants are requested to not interrupt the speakers when the speakers are delivering the material. And third, if you have any question while the speaker is doing the presentation, you can leave your question by writing on the chat box or wait until the presentation ends. Then you may have the chance to ask your question directly by pressing the raise hand button, then turning your microphone on. All right, in this session, there will be 5 presentations in total, everyone. The first one is under the topic Borobudur and Locality through Digital Era that will be delivered by the first group of Universitas Gadjah Mada. Next, there will be a group from Islamic State Institute of Manado with the topic about maintaining integrity and intellectuality in cultural society. After that, we'll see the presentation from the second group of Universitas Gadjah Mada that will talk about Korean wave on e-commerce. Then we will move to the last group presentation from National University of Singapore that will break down the topic of online intercultural exchange X learner autonomy before we welcome our guest speaker, Ms. Manik Kharismayekti, that will share the very interesting and of course insightful presentation about no dementia and be part of a dementia-friendly community. Wow, such the great, really interesting topics, right? All right, then without any further ado, let's welcome our first group presentation from Universitas Gadjah Mada under the topic Borobudur and Locality through Digital Era. Tudini, Abdil, Afta, and Atif, time is yours.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for Mbak Nadifa to allow me continue this session. To Afta, okay. Thank you for helping me share screen the PowerPoint. Okay, so we will take over this session and talk about Borobudur and Locality through Digital Era. It is our title. Before we present this PowerPoint, we will introduce our group member. Next slide, please. You might didn't slideshow. Okay, we're waiting to Opta share screen the PowerPoint. That's okay. That's really common in online event, ya kan? Okay. Okay, right. She's back. Okay, so there is Dini Chaya as myself, Atif Fahri, Afta Yahradianti, and Abdil Brain Iman Kasih. So here is our curriculum development strategies through digital era at Borobudur Temple. It is to more able to adaptation in through this pandemic era and digital platform and preserve cultural heritage. Sorry. Okay, so go to the next slide, Apta. Okay, guys, so what is Borobudur? I know that you already know about Borobudur, but I will explain it that. Okay, so Borobudur is a Buddhist temple located in Magelang, Central Java, and because Borobudur closer to Jakarta, it's more often used as tourist attraction from Jakarta and tourism promotion activity. So Borobudur is having meaning that combination of the word bara and budur. Bara is Sanskrit means temple complex and or monastery, and budur taken from the Balinese language, which mean above. Okay, so about Borobudur in a simple point. So the next we will talk about changes in Borobudur during pandemic COVID-19.
Okay, so the next topic is the changes in Borobudur during pandemic COVID-19. As we know, in this pandemic situation, most of the tourism spots were forced to be closed temporarily to avoid the crowds and COVID-19 widespread, including Borobudur. In 2020, Borobudur closed for 4 months, starting in March and open again on June 25, 2020. And sadly, this way is not enough to get the visitors back. The number of visits has decreased. The spread of COVID-19 is very high and caused this thing to happen. This number of visitors increased 77% in 2020. In 2019, they have 4.39 million visitors. So contrasting with 2020, that only attracts 996,000 visitors. That means the visitors decreased by 3.3 million this year. In other side, there are other factors why Borobudur has decreased the number of visitors. One of these is that people nowadays lack curiosity about history and the relic of history itself. Borobudur for the example. So now let's talk about the next topic of digital platform for promoting Borobudur.
Okay, the next topic is digital platform for promoting Borobudur. Borobudur and youngster generation participate in social media as media promoter. Borobudur in this table, we can see that the number of users and followers of the website and social media of Borobudur is increasing. It proves that many people want to visit Borobudur in the future. And the next is how younger promote Borobudur on social media.
After we can, sorry, but we can't hear anything from you, and I will take over this session. Go previous slide, please. To previous slide, I will explain about that. Next slide, please. In slide 8, I guess. Yes, all right. Okay, sorry for the annoying things. Okay, so here's what are social media platform that Borobudur use. So here's we can see that from review website on social media to 2018, there Borobudur made like a website that from 2017 through 2018. there is increasing followers, and also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and also website. So here's what can Borobudur do through digital era to promoting Borobudur. Okay, so it is the function to more able to know people about that. So okay, that's next slide. How younger promote Borobudur on social media? Okay, so first, it's really common when younger to promote, okay, right, on social media, of course. And first, here's a giveaway. So it is really common, like influencer maybe or young people to promote Borobudur and indirect endorsement. And it is also the how to younger promotion to promoting the Borobudur to increase more participant or visitor to Borobudur. Okay, so we are going to talk about what government do from to Borobudur to this pandemic era.
Okay, so now the topic is what government do for Borobudur, and let's move to 3 strategies topic. There are 3 strategies for government to do for a Borobudur. First is innovation. Utilizing technology needs to be done to be able to map the business potential of the tourism sector and creative economy. With innovation, business people can not only survive but also be capture business opportunities. Second is adaptation. Current pandemic situation must be able to prioritize health and safety in every tourism destination and tourism activities, including in every line of the creative economy by strictly implementing health protocols. The last is from 3 strategies is collaboration. Cooperate with various stakeholders of the tourism sector and the creative economy. Next topic. So this the example of what government do for Borobudur based on 3 strategies. There are also 3 examples too. First is tourism village development. In accordance with Rencana Pembangunan Jangka Menengah Nasional 2020 until 2024, Kementerian Pariwisata dan Ekonomi Kreatif targets as many as 244 tourist villages certified to be independent tourist village until 2024. Of the 244 tourist villages, as many as 150 tourist villages are in 5 super priority destinations, including Borobudur, and will be expanded. Second is clean health and safety environment. The government also prepared a free clean health, safety, and environmental sustainability certification program for tourism and creative economy business at Borobudur. This certification is a health protocol guide as part of efforts to prevent and control coronavirus transmission. The last is digitalization. This digitalization program for the creative economy aims to improve capabilities and competences, not only scale up human resources, but also encourage tourism and creative economy human resource to produce quality products. Next topic. And next topic is conclusion. So the conclusion is sustainable development of Borobudur as a cultural heritage already goes well. Government and the public, especially youngsters, together develop and promote Borobudur for being a favorite tourism attraction in Indonesia by digital promotion in this globalization era. Hoping in the future another program will come to continue this development and sustain for a long time. Next topic.
Okay, so that's all that we can explain about Borobudur. How Borobudur through this digital era, yeah, and sorry about the little miss because it's really common when we have a event online and it's really annoying, but I'm really sorry about that. And that's all that we can explain about that. I hope you can understand and increase our knowledge, our experience. Maybe it's like your new knowledge. I hope you can understand that, by the way. And thank you for your attention and cooperation, and apologize us. Okay, so I will give you back the next session to our moderator.
All right. Wow, that was such a great presentation, despite any kind of trouble or problem that occurred, everyone, about Borobudur developmental strategies in order to be more able to adapt in this pandemic through digital platforms and preserve the cultural heritage. Just like almost everything, the Borobudur temple environment has changed in several aspects. And then the group explained about the sustainable development strategies that have been done well using digital platforms and promotion strategies. Thank you so much to Dini and friends for delivering the insightful material. Now, everyone, let's move on to the second presentation. There are Anggi, Dimas, Jihan, and Novika Sari from Islamic State Institute of Manado, who will present the topic about maintaining integrity of intellectuality in cultural society. To Anggi and friends, time is on your side.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to say thank you very much for the chance that has given to us, the team from Manado State Islamic Institute. So on this good occasion, we will explain about the title about maintaining integrity of intellectuality of cultural society. So excuse me for the committee, can you please share our screen, our material? Okay, thank you very much. So this is our topic today. We will talk about, we will share our ideas about maintaining integrity of intellectuality in cultural society. Next slide, please. So this is our team. First of all, I would like to introduce our team members. My name is Novika Sari as the first speaker, and the second speaker is Dimas Prasetya, and then Anggi Praditya Mobaya as the third speaker, and the last speaker is Jihan Songkaton. Next slide, please. So because we choose the topic about maintaining integrity of intellectuality, so I think this is a quote from David Desch will be a good quote to start our material today. So he said that every aspect that unprohibited by law of nature could be achieved in the light of righteous knowledge. Next slide, please. So I will talk about the definition of intellectual. So when we talk about intellectual, we're going to some people or a person that they are who produce, evaluate, and distribute culture. What we mean about this is they produce something from their mind in order that it will happen or come into existence. Also, they will evaluate what they will going to make and distribute what they have got from their thoughts for the development of humanity. And also, we have the theory that maybe can support this definition of intellectual. So according to Michael Burway, 2005, intellectual may be said to vary along two dimensions. It's intended to audience and the degree to which it makes instrumental versus normative claims. So the next, for further information and material and topic will be explained by the second speaker.
Okay. Next slide, please. So, okay, I'm sorry for the interruption. So at the next is why we have to maintain integrity of our intellectuality. Firstly, the idea is maintaining our intellectual integrity denote that intellectual does not lose their idealism of thinking. What the meaning of this saying is that as the intellectual, we need to maintain our intellectuality to not lose our idealism for thinking and develop for human kind. The problem that we have today with the intellectual is most intellectual nowadays could not maximize their full potential of being non-intellectuality. So nowadays, the intellectual does not represent what they think right now, because the impact from the development that may be too freedom for the intellectual. I will explain further at the next, please. Next slide, please. So what is the correlation between intellectual culture and society? The intellectual role has been performed in all societies. Even a nomadic trade, fewer than 100 foragers could afford to employ a shaman to forecast the weather, predict the movement of animals, and tend to ill. So since the beginning of society, the beginning of civilization, I mean, the people, society always search the intellectual to develop some things for them, like axe, fire, etc. Through history, intellectuals have an impact in society, such as culture. In culture, the main role of the intellectual in culture is they are agent of culture, because they distribute the culture from their mind. They distribute through the trade, through religion, through knowledge. They spread all of that, and then it becomes culture with it, such as the culture of what we have, like the fight at the Colosseum. That's a culture. That's from the Roman Empire. Second is knowledge. Knowledge is the main part of what intellectuals share in society. They share knowledge about math, philosophy, etc. They share to society till what we as known like Renaissance era and something like that. And third is civilization. So at the civilization, intellectual is the key role of what we know, like what we have here, our laptop, our handphone, our book. It comes from intellectual folks and minds since the beginning of society, like Vika said at the earlier, like intellectual are people who produce, evaluate, and distribute culture. So this is what the correlation between culture and society. The next will be presented by Anggi Praditya.
Okay, thank you very much, my bro, Dimas Prasetya, for giving me the chances to explain this. So we've come to the case and problem solving. I found some interesting facts and cases about maintaining integrity of intellectuality in culture society. In this PowerPoint stated that through civilization history, intellectuals commonly draw with literature issues against societies. That's been stated by Paulo Freire. We can take a look back from the 18 and 16. Ever since Plato envisaged a society ruled by philosopher king, some intellectuals have been motivated by the conviction that they are better suited than there are non-intellectuals. And it happens again nowadays, just like what happened in Kinipan Custom Land, has been stated by the second and first speaker, and the second speaker stated that a lot of intellectual nowadays hasn't maximized their full potential. And it's kind of sad that the Kinipan Custom Land now have been thrown down from the Kinipan Custom Society to a project, and then they lost their hometown, they lost their village. So that solution that have come so far is we need the authority support and major remodel in education work. Why? Because nowadays the intellectual just thinking about themselves, or in the other language, they just being selfish to themselves. They're only using that intellectual for themselves and not using it for helping each other. These organized solutions can give a big impact on socio-cultural society. So when we remodel some system in education work, I believe that those youngsters that will become intellectual in the future can be such a good thinker and also a good action. Thank you, and I will move this into the next speaker.
Okay, thank you, Anggi. So I would like to conclude our material today about maintaining integrity of intellectuality on culture society. So intellectual are people who produce, evaluate, and distribute culture. So according to Michael Barway, 2005, intellectual may be said to vary along two dimensions. So it's intended to audience and the degree to which it makes instrumental versus normative claims. So in order to maintain an organized sociocultural society, we are offering a solution to prevent disoriented integrity, such as authority support and major remodel in education world. Okay, thank you for your attention. And then we apologize if there are any mistakes. And then I would like to give back the session for the moderator. Thank you very much.
Okay, what an amazing presentation that gives us knowledge about integrity and intellectuality. Then there are also insights about the correlation of them both. That's very interesting because we can see the correlation from several aspects or perspectives such as culture, knowledge, and civilization. The group came up with a solution about authority support and major remodel in the education world. They believe that those organized solutions can have a big impact on socio-cultural society, since the case is that intellectuals commonly draw literary issues against societies. All right, all thanks to Anggi and friends from Islamic State Institute of Manado. Next, our agenda is the question and answer regarding the two topics that have been delivered very well by the first group from Universitas Gadjah Mada and also the group from Islamic State Institute of Manado. Should you have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop your questions through the chat box or directly ask the speakers by pressing the raise hand button, then turning your microphone on. Okay, for all the participants, any questions or maybe feedbacks are also welcome. regarding the two topics. That's very interesting, right? Okay, everyone, you may ask the questions. Okay, maybe the participants are already insured with all the materials because the materials were delivered very comprehensively by the group. So maybe I want to ask, can I, for the to the presenters, can I, as a moderator, ask the question?
Of course, you can, but
Okay, thank you so much. Maybe for the Dini and friends, I'm curious about regarding the sustainable strategies that you have delivered in Borobudur Temple. There must be problems that cannot be solved yet. So what do you think about it? Like, what is the problem that maybe hasn't been solved yet during this pandemic regarding the promoting strategies of Borobudur? Do you think there are any problems that hasn't solved yet?
okay, thank you for asking, Mbak Nadifa, and I will answer that by my perspective or the hours research about Borobudur, but I guess it is the pandemic era. It's really difficult to solve all of the problem, right? Although it is maybe Borobudur is open right now, already open, but it's like not really gate visitor because we have to stay in healthy protocol, like wear mask, social distancing, or something like that. That maybe it's decrease the visitors. But although the government or the locality have to do the how to solve the problem, but it's really hard in this difficult time, right? So do you agree with me? But okay, so I think is the problem is right now we have a pandemic era, so we have to not. I think if we can to solve the problem, we can to like decrease the problems. So that's all that I can say or answer your questions. Thank you for the questions, by the way.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Dini, for answering my question. Such a great answer. Oh, and now we can get that the participants getting more excited to ask the questions. So to Mr. Muhammad Raihan Praba, you can turn your microphone on and ask directly to the group.
Okay, thank you so much for the chance that has been given to me. I would like to ask to the second group, which is Manado State Institute of Islamic Studies group. So my question is that how will you remodel the education? Will you be more focusing on the teachers' education since they develop the new generation, or the students' education, or the educational system instead? In addition, I would like to have some answer of these questions from Novika Sarigobal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. Maybe Novika Sari and friends, to Miss Novika Sari and friends from Institut Agama Islam Negeri Manado, you can directly answer the question.
Okay, so for the question from Muhammad Kaihan or Afia maybe, because I see the chat from Afia. She is asking question. The question is, I want to ask the second, could you guys explain about how the implementation for maintaining our integrity, intellectuality in society? So how we maintain as intellectuality is we're making discussion pockets that informal, like that's the implementation of intellectuality. We have to maintain our integrity of the intellectuality that we have as intellectual. I hope you understand the word playing like that. So we need to making a pocket of discussion, formal of informal. We need to make a organization to spread a knowledge. That's how we maintain our integrity of intellectuality that we have as intellectual. Because we are intellectual at campus, at college, we have our critical folks and something like that. I hope you understand that's how we maintain our integrity in possible way. I mean, in easiest way, we have to keep maintaining this process to keep it progress till the future, till the next generation. We share the education, we share what we know to the next generation. That's how we maintain the intellectuality. I hope that could answer your question. And the second question from Muhammad Raihan Prabatahir, he asking about how we're going to remodel the education. So when like us, so the question will be answered by Novika Sarigobo. I am apologize for being so aggressive. Sorry. The question from Muhammad Raihan will be answered by Vika. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Raihan asked me about how to remodel the education. So that is a very long question, actually. So as said by Dimas Prasetya, he said that we have to shape pockets of informal discussion. So I will give some addition because the question is very same with the question from Afia. So for example, like that, the formation of pockets of informal discussion, the formal of informal discussion. Why we have to shape some informal discussion? Because on campus or on in the school, the education is very formal, you know, and sometimes it has limitation of the time for the students to discuss. That's why sometimes people really need to shape informal space to discuss about some knowledge that maybe we never know before. And also the formation of educational community organization is a step to overcome intellectual integrity that has begun to erode. That we know that intellectual integrity that has begun to erode. So I think back to the informal discussion is really important to be shaped. And also the intellectual base of the conflicting social cultural society is also a process in strengthening our integrity as intellectuals with the full support of authorities. So from shaping informal discussion, we also really need a support from the authorities. So I think that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much for the nice answer. I hope it's clear enough for the those who ask the questions, and we get more and more questions, and it shows like how excited the participants to know more about the interesting material about our presentation today. So let's move to the next question. Maybe Muhammad Tegar, you raise your hand first. You can turn your microphone on.
All right, thank you for the opportunity. I would like to ask simple questions for the second group from EIN. And my question is, how do we change misconceptions on the negative stigma of society with our intellect? Thank you.
All right, thank you for the question. Maybe for the group from...
Okay, so can you repeat again your question, please?
My question is, how do we change misconceptions on the negative stigma in our society with our intellectual?
So I think that the misconception is born because the people isn't the non-intellectuals group. So, and also, sorry, the moderator, just opened the chat box and I found an interesting question from UGM alias Salsabila. He's asking that education plays a significant role in every aspect of life, including can be applied as a solution for this problem. I mean, it is maintaining integrity of intellectually. And then she asks about what kind of education system that's suitable for this issue. So I think that is had a link or correlation between your Tegar question and this Alia's question. So I don't think I'm going to answer the Alia's question first. So what kind of education system that's suitable for this case? So I found that we should start from elementary school, I think, because we can have an example for in Finland. So we know that in Finland they only spend 5 hours in school, right? But we can say that they made a lot of invention, as known as Nokia's phone. So we have to give back to the students all the rights to choose, so that they can participate more than just following what teacher said in the classroom. It's kind of boring because the education system since a century ago hasn't changed at all. We're only following what the teacher's been stated, and we only repeat it again. So I think that we have to recreate it back from the elementary school, that those students from elementary school since the first grade to third grade, we have to give them the right to discuss, so they can be used to discussing again in the future. So I think that is so. And for Tegar, how to prevent those misconception? I think it is on how we do. People will still have those negative side for us, because those intellectual presented the negative side. So I think we should have showed them what is being intellectual. We have to produce more, be productive, and yeah, helping each other in every possible way. So I think that is. Thank you for the time.
All right, thank you so much for the group and also for those participants who have asked the questions. But unfortunately, we have limited time here, so we don't have enough time to go on for the first question and answer. Maybe we can catch up in another time, everyone. I'm so sorry. So we have to move to the next agenda. That's all for the first session of presentation today. Next, let's continue to the second session. The third group that will deliver the material is from Universitas Gadjah Mada with the topic about Korean wave on e-commerce. To Arianti, Arindresti, Aziza, and Clara, time is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity for our group to share our material. Can anybody share the screen? Okay. And it is an honor for us to meet you all in this webinar. Today, we will present our small research with the title Korean Waves on E-commerce. Next. But first of all, let me introduce our group members. First, there is Arianti Karida, and then Aziza Ayu, and then me, Clara Diva, and then Aryan Desri. Next. Okay, in this presentation, we will discuss our research question, which is why e-commerce use Korean artists for increasing brand awareness. Okay. The reason why we choose this topic is because at the time, e-commerce and the Korean entertainment industry are becoming people's interest. It is also supported by this current pandemic condition when people are spending their whole time in their house and everything is digitalized, including purchase and sale activities. Next, okay. And here is our mind map for our discussion today. As an impact of Korean waves, many e-commerce in Indonesia use and collaborate with Korean artists as their brand ambassador and guest star in their program as strategies to increase the brand awareness for their products. So in this presentation, we will discuss more about e-commerce, Korean waves, Korean artists as brand ambassador and guest star, and also about brand awareness. And before we discuss more about why Korean artists could affect the increasing brand awareness of e-commerce, we need to understand first about e-commerce. E-commerce is defined as the process of selling and buying of goods and services from business and for consumers by using the internet as a telecommunication assistant. And the next material is about Korean waves, and it will be delivered by Aziza. Aziza, time is yours.
All right. Thank you so much, Clara. First of all, let's see the definition of Korean wave. So Korean wave is a phenomenon of the spread of Korean culture, such as K-drama, K-pop, Korean tourism, K-food, and many more, which are supported by the Korean government as the change to globalize its economy and their national image. Next. All right, this is a picture of data from Blip, a private research organization that analyzed K-pop fandom. Then it shows the distribution of K-pop fans, where the bigger the blue circle, the more popular K-pop. As we can see in the Indonesian area, the circle is quite large, which indicate that K-pop is in a great demand by the Indonesian people. Next. This is the other supporting data that shows the Korean wave is very popular in Indonesia. On the left picture, it shows that Indonesia ranks second in terms of K-pop streaming. And on the right picture, shows the use of K-pop hashtag on Twitter is the most widely tweeted by Indonesian people. So it shows that Indonesian people are interested in Korean culture, especially Korean artists or K-pop. Next. All right. Here we choose two e-commerce sites, Tokopedia and Shopee, as an example because recently they are the most popular or big e-commerce platform in Indonesia, and they frequently invite Korean artists as brand ambassador and guest star. So people will be more aware of these two e-commerce sites since they often show up on television or social media in promoting their brand. All right, the next slide is about brand awareness that will be delivered by Arianti. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Aziza. So as we have mentioned in our research question before, we will be talking about the effect the Korean wave has to increase brand awareness on e-commerce. But what is brand awareness? So brand awareness is consumers' ability to identify, recognize, and remember the brand as one of the particular products when they're thinking of some product. Next. Next, please. Okay. There are some strategies to help e-commerce increase their brand awareness. The first one is advertising. It is the clips you usually see in the middle of watching TV or YouTube videos when you're scrolling through social media, or it also can be the billboard you see on the road. The second one is giveaway. It's handing a free gift distribution with certain conditions, and this will lead people to be curious and interested in a certain e-commerce. The third one is brand ambassadors. So we invite famous celebrities to become the representative of the brand to enhance their brand image and brand name. The last one is promoting. So promoting here can be done by holding events that can gain popularity, such as an event which invites a guest star or giving some discounts. After this, we will be talking about the role of the Korean wave, which can be found in brand ambassadors and guest stars. Now, brand ambassador is a person or group from popular public who supports a brand to influence consumers, especially to get consumers' attention and expected to increase their number of sales from the brand. Next. So the first example is BTS, the brand ambassador of Tokopedia. From the biggest image on the left, we can see that Indonesia holds the biggest percentage of the amount of army, the name of BTS fans. And the picture beside it shows the online reaction after Tokopedia launched the announcement that it would have a collaboration with BTS. You can see the trending topic, the world trending topic, and Indonesia trending topic. It seems like the strategy that Tokopedia uses here seems to be successful because right after the very first advertisement came out in YouTube, the video already hit 65 million viewers. Next. Now, the second example is Stray Kids as brand ambassador of Shopee. Even though the popularity is not as big as BTS, Stray Kids does show its own image. Executive Director of Shopee, Handika, stated that Stray Kids represents Shopee's characteristics, which are young, creative, and energetic. The impact of choosing Stray Kids as the brand ambassador of Shopee can be seen here. You can see the two pictures showing Shopee and Stray Kids news trends on November 4th, 2020. So there is an increase, even though it's not really significant, but still there is an impact here. Next one, we're going to talk about guest star, which will be presented by Aren. Aren, time is yours.
All right, thank you very much, Arianti. Now I'm gonna continuing explaining about guest star as part of promoting. So, guest star itself is a well-known person who is invited to an event as a special performer. And in this case, they are usually invited to a creative program that is held by some e-commerce companies in Indonesia, such as Tokopedia and Shopee. Also, if you know, there are strategies that the creative team do related to cultural characteristic, especially Indonesian characteristic. So, Indonesian people's characteristic is that they are easily attracted to foreigners that know about Indonesia's culture, Indonesia's behavior, or foreigners that become local. And it is related to locality. For example, foreigners react to Indonesian food content or foreigners that fluently speak Indonesian language. Many people are interested in it and they are easily attracted to them. And in this case, the creative program team uses Indonesian people's characteristics as their strategies to gain more people's attention to wider the spread of the brand awareness. They make a local name for the K-pop artists, K-pop groups, and the guest stars that are invited in a creative program, and it successfully makes their fans more excited. And this program successfully became a trending, such as in Twitter, and when it became a trending, it also bringing the creative program name that related to e-commerce brand. So next, here's some example of creative program, such as WIB or Waktu Indonesia Belanja from Tokopedia, Mantul House from Tokopedia, also Shopee monthly event from Shopee. And related to locality, here's an example of the creative program that invited Korean artists or Korean boy group, and they gave a local name to each members.
Aku Doni, 찬이에요.
Aku Haikal, 해찬이에요.
아쿠 마헨. 안녕하세요 여러분, 마크입니다.
아쿠 잠말. 안녕하세요, 최현입니다.
아쿠 유다. 아쿠 디오. 안녕하세요, 저는 태용입니다.
아쿠 디마스. 안녕하세요, 도영입니다.
아쿠 띠안. 안녕하세요, 티엘입니다.
아쿠 주한. 안녕하세요, 주한입니다.
And yeah, related to the video before, it is successfully increasing the brand awareness of the brand because this program became a trending topic in Twitter, which is mentioning the brand name. So next is, so in conclusion, e-commerce, or in this study, Tokopedia and Shopee chose Korean artists as brand ambassador and guest star because it helps the e-commerce brand to spread their brand awareness to the target market through Korean artists which have huge fans. And I think that's all from our groups. Thank you for your time and attention, and I'll give it back to our moderator.
All right. Wow, the material is very interesting as what I personally expected, everyone. Don't you all think the same? It's intriguing how they talk about the Korean wave and how the e-commerce often do the marketing strategy to raise the brand awareness by collaborating with Korean entertainers. And it turns out that the thing is Korean fandom is very powerful in a way that they can be a large number of e-commerce target marketing. So appreciation to Arianti and friends for delivering the material well. Now let's move on to the last presentation before we welcome our guest speaker of our webinar today. There are Charmaine and Tammy from National University of Singapore, who will present the topic about online intercultural exchange X learner autonomy. To Charmaine and Tammy, time is on your side.
Hello, thank you. Allow me to share my screen.
Okay. Yeah, so good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for inviting us to come share about a research study that we conducted in the past semester. I'm Shireen, and this is my partner, Tammy. Yeah, so we did this project on online intercultural exchanges in during this semester, and the topic is on this idea of learner autonomy and its effects on engagement. Yeah, so for our project, we were being supervised by Professor Miguel Escobar, who some of you might know because he teaches a module together with Prof. Mala. Yeah, okay, so moving on to our, next slide. Yeah, so yeah, this is just pictures of me and Tammy as the principal investigators. Yeah. Yeah, so actually Tammy and I actually took part in the online intercultural exchange with some UGM students last year. And these are just some of the photos of my personal experiences. So we played online games like Among Us. We chatted a lot about life on Zoom and also on WhatsApp. Yeah, so the experience was very memorable for us, and we decided to do a study on online intercultural exchanges. Okay, so for today, we'll be firstly going through the motivation and the background of our study, followed by the methodology of how we carried out our study, followed by what we found out and the possible explanations for our results, and then we'll provide some recommendations for future online intercultural exchanges. Okay, so moving on to the introduction. With the growth of new communication technologies in this modern era of the world, there is an increased need for us to be able to manage intercultural communication better as we communicate more with people from other cultures. So it is crucial that before entering the workplace, students develop a sense of intercultural communication competency. To do so, educational institutions have implemented online learning tools such as online intercultural exchange. Such classes allow students to gain knowledge of various cultures, develop a sense of global citizenship to contribute to decision-making in intercultural contexts. So the tasks carried out during these exchanges can be carried out autonomously or under the guidance of teachers. So moving on to this idea of learner autonomy, it is essentially the ability to understand and to manage learning processes responsibly and effectively. There is a range of viewpoints on how much autonomy should be given to students to learn in these online intercultural exchanges. Some suggest that giving participants more freedom to shape their interactions with their partners will lead to more genuine interactions and higher engagement in conversations. Others, however, feel that facilitative practices are important to assist the process of students participating more in activities. Both autonomous and guided exchanges have their benefits. A study has shown that autonomous exchange supports the development of self-efficacy with regard to intercultural competency, whereas guided exchanges are effective in supporting the development for respect for different cultural differences among participants. We can hence see that both play a role in the overall development of intercultural communicative competence in learners. The amount of learner autonomy is a factor that should be explored further due to the role it plays in affecting students' engagement in online learning. Tammy will now be going on to talk about engagement and how it can be measured.
Thank you, Charmaine. So in every conversation, there is a speaker and there is a listener. And the point of transition between the speaker and the listener is led by a turn-taking system. Engagement in conversations can be done through the use of back channels, back-channel responses, which is defined by Duncan and Fisk in 1977. So in this study, we look at 6 back-channel responses, namely head nods, smiles, sentence completion, request for clarification, and brief restatement. And these can be further split into 3 categories: the non-verbal responses, which are head nods and smiles. And for the verbal responses, sentence completion, request for clarification, and brief restatement can be grouped separately, as it requires higher order thinking from the participants and shows that the participants are more engaged in the conversation. After introducing all the concepts, we are going to put it all together in one research question. How are engagement levels of tertiary students in online intercultural exchanges affected by learner autonomy? And to this research question, our hypothesis is that less learner autonomy, which means more guided interactions, would result in higher engagement. So we would be able to see more back-channel responses being produced, given the greater variety of questions for them to explore and talk about. Now, moving on to how we exactly conducted our study. Our participants mainly came from Universitas Gadjah Mada in Indonesia, as well as National University of Singapore. And as for our research methodology, the participants were grouped into 4 groups: 2 UGM students per group, as well as 2 NUS students in each group. Groups 1 and 3 were the autonomous groups, and groups 2 and 4 were the guided groups. This was decided randomly. Apart from assigning participants to the groups based on their availability, we also had to control for personality. And so we asked our participants to complete the Big 5 personality test and took their extroversion score, which means how extroverted they are. And people with a mixture of extroversion scores were placed into the same group. As for the instructions for both groups, for the autonomous groups, we gave them a list of topics like university life, hobbies, and the more sensitive ones like religious beliefs, misunderstandings about your culture, and the political scene. As for the guided group, the same set of topics were given in the same order, but prompting questions were also given. The entire session was conducted online through the platform Zoom, and participants were required to unmute themselves, turn on their cameras, and have a conversation with one another for 1.5 hours. The entire session was also recorded, and the data was analyzed using a video annotation software known as ELAN. Now I will be passing my time over to Charmaine, who will bring you through our results.
Yep, thank you, Tammy. Yep, so looking at the results, so firstly, we'll be talking about the different types of back-channel responses and their proportion that we observe, followed by how learner autonomy had affected the engagement of the students in the conversation, followed by how nationality plays a role, and lastly, looking at the overview of the engagement over time. So firstly, looking at the proportion of back-channel responses, we see that the non-verbal ones, such as head nods and smiles, were in much higher proportion as compared to the verbal ones, such as brief restatement, clarification, sentence completion, etc. And this is possibly because it is easier to make head nods and smiles responses as compared to the verbal responses, and it doesn't interrupt the flow of the conversation as much. Okay, yeah, so looking at the learner autonomy, in contrast to what we actually predicted, the autonomous groups were found to have a much higher number of back-channel responses. So these are the head nods, the sentence completion, as compared to the guided groups. Yeah, so this rejects our hypothesis, but why is this the case? So autonomy actually enables learners to gain the experience of being self-determined rather than being controlled, offering students this opportunity to make their own choices in terms of what direction they want to take the conversation, promotes engagement in the learning activity, especially when choices being made are being perceived as personally relevant and meaningful to the chooser. As we observed in our study, for the guided groups, we saw that whenever the students reach a point in a conversation where it was like an awkward silence, or they reached the end of a conversation, they would say things like, oh, shall we move on to the next question? Does anyone want to pick a next question? So in a sense, they were quite restricted by the list of questions that we gave them. On the other hand, for the autonomous groups, we found that they actually were more engaged in the conversation. They were more curious about certain, they were more curious and wanted to ask more things. So they would say things like, oh, actually, I'm quite curious about whatever it is, or this is so exciting, I have so much to ask. So we could sense their excitement more because there wasn't a list of questions to hinder them and they could ask whatever they wanted to ask. With pure interest, enjoyment, and satisfaction being the drivers of the interaction, the autonomous group would exhibit an increase in the number of back-channel responses, which represents their engagement levels. With that being said, guidance is still necessary for students to set goals and to make choices in their learning tasks. The teachers must still be present to be aware of the progress made or the difficulties encountered so that appropriate support can be offered whenever the difficulties arise. Next, looking at the nationality, we found that actually the Singaporeans in both groups had shown a higher number of responses as compared to the Indonesians. But this, however, does not mean that the Singaporeans were more engaged in the conversation as compared to the Indonesians. So we tried to think of explanations as to why the Singaporeans might have exhibited more responses as compared to the Indonesians. And we found that, firstly, language confidence could play a role. With English being the first language of Singaporeans, it is natural that they will be more confident in speaking it as well as responding to the Indonesians using English. So this would be seen in how the verbal responses were higher in the Singaporeans as compared to the Indonesians. So, and in many situations, we found that the Indonesians who take English as a second language had to Google Translate, or they had to ask the Indonesian counterpart for translation so that they can express what they were thinking. So this could have led to the Singaporeans exhibiting more responses as compared to the Indonesians. Secondly, it could also be because of a difference in the cultural usage of back-channel responses. People from different culture groups can use these back-channel responses differently in terms of the frequency of use, their placement in a conversational context, or the different types of listener responses. So for example, one culture may think that displaying too many back-channel responses could reflect a stance of they were disturbing the speaker, so they rather not exhibit so many responses. So in that sense, it is important that actually it is important to address and to understand how each party can express these back-channel responses, because it could lead to miscommunication. Like one culture could think the other culture as indifferent or inattentive, when in actual fact it was them not wanting to appear too intrusive in the other party's speech or whatever. Yeah, okay, so now Tammy will be going on to talk about engagement over time.
Okay, thank you, Charmaine. So zooming out and taking a look at the back channel responses against time as a whole, we notice that there is an initial high engagement period from the first 30 to 40 minutes where there are more back channel responses being recorded. And there is also a common trend that in both graphs, the back channel responses dipped in the middle from 40 to 60 minutes before showing a second peak in responses from 70 to 80 minutes. And to find out why this trend was shown, we looked at their topics discussed over time. And as expected, across all the groups, conversation topics started from more superficial ones like education and hobbies, as shown in green, to the more sensitive topics like religion and culture and the political scene, as shown in red. The autonomous groups reached the more sensitive questions a bit earlier as compared to the guided groups, and the pace of the guided groups was also quite similar, possibly because they were following closely to the list. A possible reason why this trend was observed was due to emotional engagement. When people are interested in the topics being discussed, they will be more emotionally engaged in the conversation, and hence there will be more back channel responses being produced. And as we see that towards the end of the study, more sensitive topics are being discussed, we can infer that people are actually interested to discuss about these sensitive topics instead of shying away from it and participating less. So when we looked at the engagement over time, we noticed that the occurrence of mimicry, which is also known as the chameleon effect. Simply put, people will copy the behavior of one another in a conversation, especially for non-verbal responses, as seen by the red circles here. When not exaggerated to the point of mocking, mimicry has positive influences on interaction as it makes the conversation run more smoothly. For example, when one smiles, the other participants in the same group will also smile, and the back-channeling will therefore tend to happen together. A major limitation of our study is our small sample size, as we only had 16 participants. Hence, we cannot generalize our findings to the wider population. Also, we only looked at the frequency of these back-channel responses, and the duration and intention behind back-channel response was not recorded. A smile can mean that the individual is engaged in the conversation, but smiles can also be for other reasons, like out of embarrassment or simply out of politeness, which might not indicate engagement. Lastly, we also faced technical issues, for example, connection issues or people being away from the camera or during screen sharing. And in these instances, we were not able to record any back-channel responses being produced. As for application in the real-world setting, how is this study important to you? Perhaps the first takeaway point is to understand that different cultures may exhibit or interpret back-channel responses differently. Also, less guiding material and more space to explore interests is recommended. Simply put, learner autonomy is good, but guidance is still needed. As we observe that engagement can dip after about 40 minutes, perhaps introducing a variety of activities to keep engagement levels high is recommended. With that, we have come to the end of our presentation. We would sincerely like to thank UGM for inviting us to present at this webinar, as well as our supervisor, Prof. Miguel. We hope that you have enjoyed our presentation and learned a thing or two about learner autonomy and back-channel responses. Perhaps after today, you might pay more attention to the mm-hms and hit nods you and your friends produce when engaged in the conversation. That's all from us, and we will be happy to take questions.
Wow, thank you very much to Shermaine and Tammy for delivering such a very well explained and comprehensive material about the comparison of guided and autonomous exchanges, in which autonomous exchange related to self-efficacy, whereas the autonomous exchanges related to the respect for cultural differences. Turns out there are different engagements over time. To sum up, they recommend to encourage the understanding of cultural differences and also to introduce a variety of activities to keep the engagements level high. Moreover, it is fascinating as they put their own documentations, and we all can feel like the excitement of how the exchange program that they joined back then, even though it held online, right? All right, next our agenda is the question and answer session regarding the two topics that have been well delivered by the second group from Universitas Gadjah Mada and also the group from National University of Singapore. Should you have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop your questions through the chat box or directly ask the speakers by pressing the raise hand button and turning your microphone on. Okay, to all participants, you may ask any questions or maybe feedbacks to the group from the second group of UGM and also from National University of Singapore. All right, so we see the first question come up from Alia Salsabila from Universitas Gadjah Mada. I'll read the question. Thank you for the great topics team. I'm Alia from UGM. For Group 3, besides having lots of fans in Indonesia, I think their fans' loyalty is included as a consideration for e-commerce to hire the brand ambassador, and it will increase people's knowledge about Korean wave, specifically the ambassador itself. What about the Indonesian wave? Can this phenomenon be a threat for Indonesian entertainment industry? Thank you so much. All right. For Group 3, you may directly answer the question from Alia.
Okay, so I'm gonna answer Alia's question. Thank you, Alia, for your question. So her question is, what about Indonesian wave? Can this phenomenon can be a threat for Indonesian entertainment industry? Well, it could be yes and it could be no, because somehow Korean wave can be motivations to the Indonesian wave. For example, like in Tokopedia, we use BTS as brand ambassador, but after the hit, Shopee decided to make like a comedy with the role with Almarhum Didi Kempot. So Shopee make seven people version of Didi Kempot to imitate the BTS brand ambassador of Tokopedia. And I think we in Indonesia e-commerce try to balance the Indonesian wave and Korean wave. So, and we all know that now Shopee also has Joe Taslim, and then Lazada we have also Agnes Mo, and I think as long as we balance the portion, so I think that's okay. That's from me.
All right. Thank you, Arianti, for answering the question. I hope it's clear enough for Alia to answer the question. Okay, let's move on to the next question. There is Vidya Stuti Adampe from IAIN Manado. My question for the first team, still for Arianti and friends, is what are the positive and negative effects of using Korean artists as a brand ambassador for Indonesia's brand in the long run? Okay, maybe for the group 3, you may answer it directly.
All right. Thank you for the question. Now I'm gonna try to answer the question by my perspective. So I think the positive effects is Korean artists have a huge fans, a lot of fans, and the fans are also loyal to the artist. So in a long run, in a long term, they can maintain the fans, and when they are become brand ambassador or guest star to the brand commerce, it will really help to spread the brand awareness through the Korean artist itself. And about the negative effects of inviting Korean artists, I think it can be expensive for the artists, because like we see the artists are big artists, which is they are very popular, and I think it will be expensive for the e-commerce to inviting the artists. I think that's all from me. Maybe the other will add something. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for group 3 for giving the great answer. I hope it's clear enough for the question. And let's move on to the third question. There is Kuni Hakyati from UNY, from Universitas Negeri Yogyakarta. And he said, it's actually a bit out of topics, but I'm curious and very excited to know, for National University of Singapore team, would you give your opinion about the Korean wave nowadays? Wow, it's interesting. Maybe Charmaine and Tammy can give your perspective toward related to the group 3's topic about Korean wave. What do you think?
Hello. Thank you so much for your question. Can I clarify a bit? Do you mean Korean wave for e-commerce, like according to the presentation by the other group, or it's just Korean wave in general?
Okay.
Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe I'll just answer if it's in general. What do I think about Korean wave? I like Korean Wave. um, I think a lot of people in Singapore also like Korean Wave, and if I were to pick a specific group that I like, I would say it's BTS. Okay, so yeah, I see a lot of people clapping. So I think Korean Wave can be good when it kind of brings a lot of people together if it's something that connects people. It's something that everybody likes. But on the other hand, some people do not like Korean Wave. Some people are even quite against it. If they see like all the K-pop idols on advertisements and stuff, they might be against it, and it might be counter effective. So that is another viewpoint as well. Charmaine, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think on the counter effectiveness part, because the Korean wave is very much targeted towards the younger generation, so you don't really I guess like the target audience wouldn't really extend towards the more older generation of people like my mom or my dad. Yeah, so they don't like K-pop at all. So I think to them it can be quite annoying when they see K-pop everywhere. So in that sense, they will get a bit that they wouldn't be so drawn to the product as compared to the younger generation. So yeah, I think it can be counter effective. Thanks for the question.
All right, thank you so much for the answer, Shumain and Tammy. Yes, there are always two sides of everything, right? Including like the way we love Korean wave. Okay, thank you for asking and answering. It's very interesting. Okay, let's move on to the next question. So there is, it's quite a lot here. So yeah. Okay. And for the next question is from Rahma from UGM. Also to the Sherman and Tammy from NUS group. In your opinion, how long is the best time duration to have a class offline and online? Is there any differences? If yes, what are the differences that make the best time duration is different between offline and online learning method? Okay, to Sherman and Tammy, you may answer the question.
Okay, thank you for the question again. So actually for the intercultural exchange that we had with UGM last year, for my group, we actually had both. So our interaction was completely online, just that some of it was outside of classroom and some of it was inside of classroom. Yeah, so the outside of classroom one was spent more on doing more I guess more fun activities that we wanted to do, like play Among Us, whereas the ones in the classroom was spent more on guided activities that the professors would provide. But in terms of, I guess, online versus offline, I think for me personally, I enjoy offline classes more. So if can, I would prefer to have all my classes completely offline. But I understand that there's also things like traveling time to take note of, like the traveling time from here to get to school takes a long time, so that can be a hindrance towards attending school offline. Yeah, so I guess so I think currently some classes do have offline and online learning. Like, so for example, for mine, I take life sciences, so a lot of my hands-on learning, like the experiments, are all conducted in school in real life in the lab, but the lectures are all online. So I actually quite like this arrangement because I still get to have that in real life social interaction with people as compared to lectures where it's like all online. But I think both have their benefits. Yeah. What about you, Tammy?
I think that it actually depends. We cannot state a best duration for an offline and online class. Personally, to me, I feel that it depends a lot on quite a few factors, like the interactions that the group has. So like maybe how close are they? Or are they friends? Or are they strangers? Or are they like, what kind of relationship do they have? Is it like teacher and student? So I think all these will play a role as to how long should the online class B, and also factors like the group size. Maybe a larger group would have lesser interaction and lesser engagement. So it might be difficult to have a longer online class. And for offline, it also depends because it depends on how engaged everybody is. But I would say based on our results, the initial high engagement period is 40 minutes for online. So I think that will be quite a good gauge to know that people will be engaged for 40 minutes and have a conversation. And maybe after that, they'll be quite tired. Yeah. Or unless like new activities come up. So that's my take. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much to Charmaine and Tammy for the answer. Interesting. It all depends on how effective, like the way we transfer the knowledge, like we learn something in what kind of method. Okay, thank you so much. Also, for Rahma to ask the question. Unfortunately, our time is limited, so let's move on to the next agenda, everyone. Okay, so that's all for the second session of presentation today. Next, let's continue to the most anticipated session of our webinar today. Please welcome our guest speaker who is already in this room with us this afternoon. Hello, Miss Manik. Are you there?
Hello.
Hello, Miss. How are you, Miss?
I'm fine. Thank you, Nadifa.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you here, Miss. Thank you so much for joining with us today. I think everyone here is ready to hear your presentation, Miss. However, before Miss Manik delivers the material, as a moderator, I would like to introduce to you and also to read the short profile of our guest speaker. Well, Miss Manik Kharismayekti is a person who loves to sing and play music and has a great passion for helping vulnerable people. After completing her study in medicine from Universitas Gadjah Mada in 2007, she had several years of experience in organization, education, and also research, including SHIP Indonesia Foundation and Kui Tobacco Indonesia. Miss Manik completed her master's degree in fertility and aging master's degree at Leiden University in 2019, and currently she holds a position as a community and communication coordinator at Alzheimer Indonesia Netherland Foundation and contributes to raising awareness of dementia and well-being of the older people, especially those with an Indonesian background in the Netherlands. Everyone, we all can't wait to get the insights from Ms. Manik, right? All right, then now let's move on to the presentation from our guest speaker about now dementia and be part of a dementia-friendly community. To Ms. Manik, time is yours.
Thank you, Nadifa. Thank you very much for the opportunity for me to give a presentation in this fantastic event, a webinar event talks the 24th. Before I start my presentation, I would like to know a little bit about the audience of today. So I have 2 questions in the poll. So maybe the committee can help me to show the poll to the participants. It's a very easy question. There are 2 questions and only yes or no questions.
Okay, everyone, for the participants, you may click the link
we need
in
to
the chat box.
Oh, and okay, great. I thought that is already online in the Zoom. Sorry. Yeah. Next question is there are only 2 questions. One is, do you know about dementia, or Indonesian people call it pikun? Yes or no. And the second is, do you have experience or do you have contact with the person with dementia? Yes or no question. Yes. So we can see the result now. Okay. The first question, do you know about dementia or pikun? 100% participants know about dementia. So it's really nice. And the second question, do you have contact with person with dementia? Oh, this is also nice. More than 50% participant of today's seminar have a contact with dementia, person with dementia. Thank you. Thank you, committee, to share this result. Nice. I will start my presentation. I will share my PowerPoint. Yeah. It is nice to know that all of the participants know already about dementia, about Pikun. And today my title, my presentation title is Know Dementia and Be Part of a Dementia-Friendly Community. What we are discussing today, one is about what is dementia, and dementia awareness, why it is important for us to know about that. And we will talk about dementia-friendly community, and I will end my presentation with together with you all to do the brain exercise. And what is dementia? All of you already know about dementia. It's a general term of for a set of symptoms, or there's a syndrome. There's not only one symptom, but a set of symptoms that may include memory loss, may include disability, use of language, and other thinking abilities that are severe enough to interfere with daily life. Dementia is progressive. Therefore, early detection is very important. The diagnosis process of dementia takes time, and people are usually late to be diagnosed, as usually it is already in the intermediate or a severe stage. There are many types of dementia. About 60 until 80% of cases are dementia Alzheimer, but there are also Lewy body dementia, vascular dementia, Parkinson dementia, and many more. The risk of dementia increases with age. However, dementia is not a normal part of aging. So we can grow old, we can reach the old age without dementia. And there are also people under 65 years old that already got the dementia. So the risk increases with age, but dementia is not a normal part of aging. And what are the symptoms? I took this from a folder from the Alzheimer Indonesia. So that there are at least 10 signs of dementia: memory loss, changes in problem solving or planning, difficulty in planning, difficulty completing familiar tasks, disoriented. A person with dementia sometimes difficult to understand it is noon or it is night. Physiospatial problem. For example, I have a pen on my right hand, but as a person with the dementia, she or he think maybe this is a fork, maybe this is a spoon. Communication problem, one of the signs of dementia also, misplacing things. Sometimes they put things in unusual places. Poor judgment, withdrawal with social activities, and the last one is changes in mood and personalities. And now we want to look at the data, what the world data says. World data says that 1% in the world develops dementia every 3 seconds. So every 3 seconds, people in the world, there is someone in the world develops dementia. And there were over 55 million people worldwide living with dementia in 2019. And it is predicted that the number will reach 78 million in 2030 and 139 million in 2050. And if you look at the data from the Netherlands, it's not that different. That dementia is diagnosed in 8% of people over 65. It is also detected in 25% people older than 80 years old, and 40% of people older than 90 years old. The number is also increases. In 2016, there were 260,000, and it will reach, predicted will be reached until 620,000 in 2050. And the last information is very interesting for our organizations. 40% of the 178,000 persons with dementia in 2017 have a migration background. And there is also a study that the number of persons with dementia who have a non-Western migration background is increasing faster than the number of persons with dementia with Dutch background. And if we look at the data from Indonesia, unfortunately, there is not much data in Indonesia, but we can see that there were 8.2 million people with dementia in 2016, and this number is not decreasing. It is estimated that the number will reach 4 million in 2050. So if you will look at the data, if you know about dementia, and dementia is now already become a global problem, global challenge. And the number of persons with dementia will continue to rise if we do not take an action to slow the increase. So why dementia awareness is important? Because we can prevent it and we can slow down the progression of dementia. Besides that, we can also support persons with dementia. We can support our society. How can we prevent and slow down the progression of dementia? Then we need to know about the risk factors. The greatest risk factors for dementia is increasing age. But remember, although age increases the risk, but dementia is not a normal part of aging. There are more than 20 genes that may increase a person's risk of developing dementia. Unfortunately, we cannot change our genes and we cannot stop aging. Those are non-modifiable risk factors. Fortunately, we can reduce our risk of dementia either with lifestyle changes as individual or wider changes across society. This figure is from The Lancet in 2020. It shows 12 potentially modifiable risk factors. What are they? Less education, hearing loss, traumatic brain injury, hypertension, alcohol using, obesity, smoking, depression, social isolation, physical inactivity, air pollution, and also diabetes. And the study says that we might prevent or delay up to 40% of cases of dementia if we were able to modify all of the risk factors. So we can prevent it. And the next following slide contains personal lifestyle changes we can make to prevent dementia, what we can do now. We do not need to wait when we are old, and we do not need to wait also until the government takes any action on regulation to prevent air pollution, for example. We can do it right now. What we can do to prevent the risk of dementia: exercise regularly, get enough sleep, take a healthy diet, take care of your heart. There are some evidence about take care of your heart. There are some evidence that risk factor for cardiovascular disease, such as obesity, high blood pressure, and also diabetes, negatively impact your cognitive health. So take care of your heart and your brain will follow. protect your head. Don't forget to wear seatbelt. Don't forget to use helmets when you are riding motorcycle or bicycle. Stay mentally active. Challenge your mind every day. Keep your brain in shape by doing something, for example, playing music. Last week we talked about gamelan with a group. Join the group of music group. Do crossword puzzle, or just build the DIY furniture, for example, etc. And the last one is be social active. There are some studies that state that loneliness correlates with brain aging. So staying socially active can have the opposite effect and improve your brain health. So we know about the risk factor, we can prevent it, and why dementia awareness is important, so that we can support person with dementia. We can support our society through dementia-friendly community. What is dementia-friendly community? Dementia-friendly community is a place, or it is a culture in which people with dementia and their caregivers, their families, are empowered, are supported, and are included in society. A place where they are that people understand these people with dementia rights, understand and recognize their potential. At least there are 4 essential elements to support the dementia-friendly community. One is about the people, the communities, the organization, and also partnership. The people. Person with dementia is a valuable member in a society and has the right to be recognized without suffering stigma. And they have also opportunity to continue playing a role in a society in line with their wishes and also their capabilities. Communities, you and I. What can the communities do to support the dementia-friendly community? The environment, the community must be adapted to the needs of people living with dementia. In the Netherlands, 90% of the population know about dementia. And almost 60% know someone with dementia. It's almost the same with our poll today. But only 13% of the population know how to interact with and how to relate to someone with dementia. As we know, professional in many public sector, for example, in shop, barber shop, hairdresser, dentist, banks, public transport, this professional may interact, may meet a person with dementia, and they need to be able to deal with the person with dementia when, especially when they show confusion behavior. What should they do? In the Netherlands itself, organization and offices may request dementia-friendly community training for their employees. So they will train how to interact, how to relate to someone with dementia. The third organization, business and organization must be also develop dementia-friendly approaches and also strategies. Partnership, of course, cross-sectoral support and collective action are very crucial to improve the effect of the change. And Alzheimer Indonesia Netherlands Foundation support this action. We support dementia-friendly community. Alzheimer Indonesia Netherlands is a non-profit organization that aims to improve quality of life of people living with dementia and their family and their caregivers with Indonesian background in the Netherlands. We have several activities in order to increase public awareness, to promote the health lifestyle, to give support for healthcare providers in the Netherlands to deal with person with Indonesian background, and also give support and capacity building for medical personnel, professional and caregivers, both in the Netherlands and also in Indonesia. We collaborate also with the local organization to increase the public awareness of dementia, and also join international conferences. ALZINET is established in 2017. Is still young, to connect the existing organization, Alzheimer Netherlands and also Alzheimer Indonesia. Alzheimer Indonesia itself already has almost 20 chapters in Indonesia, spread across Indonesia, and there is also a regional coordinator in Yogyakarta, and also there is also a chapter in Manado. So if you want to know more about the dementia, if you want to know more about dementia-friendly community, don't hesitate to contact me. I put my email address here. But also you can also visit the website of Alzheimer Indonesia, www.alzi.org.id, or visit the ALZINET website, or just follow our social media, Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. So this is my presentation, but I will end my presentation with brain exercise. We are almost 2 hours sitting in front of our computer. And I said before that the physical exercise is very important, not only to prevent dementia, but also to maintain your body health. So to end my presentation, I want to stop share here. To end my presentation, I would like us to you all to open your video if you want, and join me to do the brain exercise. I want to ask the committee to show the video, and we will move the upper part of our body and train our brain with coordination movement. And this video is produced by Alzheimer Indonesia. We will see the video. Is it possible? If it is not possible, then I can also share maybe my video.
All right, Miss. While waiting for the presentation file, the video file, I mean, maybe we can encourage others, all the participants to turn on the camera.
Yes, let's turn on the camera. If it is difficult for you to share the video, I can also share my video. It is better, if it is better. What do you think?
All right, for the committee, is there, I think there is a problem, Miss? Yeah, maybe the committee can stop to share the screen and Miss Manik try to do so.
Okay, I will do it. Can I share my video? Oh yeah, it's already. Okay. Yeah, let's do it together. There is no music here. Actually, there is a music. Oh, Okay, then I will. Let's do it together. Thank you so much that I saw some people do it together with us. This is the last sentence from me. Know about dementia, help us to protect dementia, to prevent dementia, to understand better people with dementia, and helps us also to support our society. Jangan maklum dengan pikun. I give the screen back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Manik, for the presentation. It is very insightful and encouraging and also fun. It was fun at the end. We even have the brain exercise. But before I want to sum up the session, I would like to greet Miss Inul here, Miss Nur Endah Nugraheni. It turns out that she watched the live streaming on YouTube, and she even greet Miss Manik. She said that Dr. Manik, my old-time junior high school friend, greetings from Enda. I was in class 3-6. Wow, interesting. We have a little reunion here.
Thank you for the even talks then.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed the webinar, Miss Inul. All right, let's move on to our agenda. We got new information, everyone, about dementia and how important it is to have awareness related to dementia, because we can actually prevent and slow down the progression of dementia. Then, of course, support people with dementia. Well, there are also several prevention ways that we can do about dementia. Then, regarding the dementia-friendly community, there are 4 elements such as people with dementia, communities, organizations, and partnerships. So in conclusion, we all can raise awareness about dementia and help one another by being part of the dementia-friendly community. Everyone, don't forget to contact Miss Manik if you want to know more about Alzheimer Indonesia Netherlands Foundation. As our guest speaker has finished the presentation, now let's move to the next agenda, which is question and answer session for the last time for our today's webinar. Okay. For the participants, whoever want to give any questions or feedbacks, or even maybe the participants may sharing their experience related to dementia people, right, Miss Manik?
Sorry, can you say it again?
Yes, Miss Manik, I said that maybe besides the questions, maybe the participants can also share their experiences related to the dementia people.
Really nice if you want to share also your experience with contact with the person with dementia.
Yes. Oh, we already have one question here, Miss, from Tammy from National University of Singapore. Hello, Miss Manik. Thank you for the presentation. May I ask if you have any suggestions on how we can change the physical environment of our neighborhood to accommodate the needs of people with dementia?
Yeah, thank you, Tammy, for the question. It's a really nice question. How we can change the physical environments and of our neighborhood to accommodate the needs of people with dementia. Yeah, actually, it's the changes situation is really a challenge, but you can start from yourself. You can start from ourselves, right? And respect the, of course, respect the person with dementia. But here is the question is about physical environment, right? There's a physical environment in the Europe, for example. I cannot give an example in the Asia, but in the Europe, for example, we have a multidisciplined meeting, for example, with the architecture, with also health professional, to think about what can we do to support the person with dementia in the physical environment. For example, houses we thought stay. I'm thinking with Dutch, and then I need to talk with English. It's really difficult. Stairs. So, for example, build a house without stairs for the person with the dementia, and also safety in the kitchen, so people can still cook, but in the safety place. And of course, many things. For example, what you call a big, not a street. What is it? Sidewalks that not a lot of not a lot of the ramble, not a lot of I forgot the English term. So we need to collaborate with others. We cannot do changes with ourselves, but we can do first with ourselves, respect the elderly, give support with your heart, but also we need to collaborate with others. We need to collaborate to help professional, to the architect, to the environment, and also support also not only the physical, but also the thinking, the education. So if we know about the dementia, we can support more For example, how if we meet person with dementia with when she is confused, what should we do? What should we talk? For example, something like that. Sorry, I'm really not here. Okay, maybe it help Tammy.
Hello, sorry.
Yeah, it is help Tammy.
Oh yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, to change the physical environment is a little bit difficult, but at least education is important. So across of sectors.
Yes, I agree. Thank you for your presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Tammy, for the question.
Okay, thank you so much, Tammy, for the question, and also Miss Manik for the answer. So yeah, the key is that we have to help each other, right? We cannot make changes by ourselves, so we can walk hand in hand with another to make our environment better and better again in terms of dementia also. All right. Unfortunately, everyone, we have limited time here, so we don't have enough time to continue our question and answer session. But maybe you all can contact Ms. Manik to have any other information, or maybe you have another questions regarding to the dementia community. You can ask Ms. Manik by reach her out through the personal contact. Thank you so much for everyone that has remained stay until the last session of our webinar today. Before we move to the last agenda, which is the documentation session, I would like to remind all of the participants to click the link on the chat box. Maybe the committee can share the link for the participants' presence form and also feedback as well, so we as the committee can improve for the next webinar events talk. Okay, I think once again, unfortunately, we don't have enough time here. Before I end this session, please can you give a big applause to the speakers, all the speakers, they all really great at delivering the material by clapping your hand for appreciation, or give a reaction so we all can see how excited you are during our webinar today. Maybe you can give the reaction like clapping your hand, or maybe give the love. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. And if you don't mind, at the last moment, please turn on your camera. We're going to take pictures together. Okay, I will wait maybe for 30 seconds for everyone to turn the camera on so we can take the screenshot for the documentation of our webinar today. Yeah, there are quite a lot of people here. There are 74 people in total. I hope at least a lot of people can be on cam. Okay, I think none of people have some kind of problem or something else. We can, okay, I guess we have to wait a little longer. Okay, everyone, I'll take the pictures. Maybe you can be prepared for three of your best smiles, because we have 3 slides here. So you have to stand by with your best smile, okay? All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, that's it for the first slide. The next slide, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and for the last slide, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I guess that's all for our presentation session today.
The presentation sessions in Webinar Events Talk 24 under the theme The Intersection of Culture, Science, and Society have finished. I would like to express my appreciation to all the speakers for sharing the fascinating material and also to all the attendees for your participation during our webinar today. Now I give the session back to our MC, to Sonia. Time is on your side.
Okay, thank you, Nadifa. Wow, that is so excellent material that has been done. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to thank to all of the guests. The first one is Manik Kharismayekti as a community and communication coordinator assisting Alzheimer Indonesia, Netherlands, and Shermani Tio and Temi Lau from National University of Singapore, Anggi Mubaya, Dimas Prasetya, Jihan Fahira Songkaton, and Novika Sarigobel from Institut Agama Islam Negeri Manado. As well as all the webinar participants, the intersection of culture, science, and society that we are proud of. I'm Sonia. Live and see you again next time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom. Om Santi Santi Om. Namo Buddhaya. Greetings of virtue. All of you respected guests might leave the room. Thank you very much. Please stay safe and healthy.
Thank you everyone for coming to our webinar today.
Thank you.
Stay safe and stay healthy for everyone.